Hey everyone, Kevin here, and thanks for watching this video in our bottom line series, which focuses on custom lower trucks. And you might have noticed that lately I've been driving my Chevy S10. We recently fixed the air ride on it, and it drives completely smooth. It's also got Nitto NT 555 G2 tires, which really help out with that as well. But I miss my 62 GMC, and in one of the past videos we did where we focused on how custom headers are made, I did a little bit of a burnout at the end and I blew my transmission. Really wasn't necessarily the transmission's fault. It was something on my end where I wasn't paying attention to an adjustment on it. But anyways, the truck is powered by a 383 stroker small block Chevy engine. And now that the transmission's gone, I had time to think about, maybe I need to change things under the hood. So I'm gonna visit a guy and weigh in our options. All right, so we're here in Hawaiian Gardens, which is pretty local to me in Southern California. And we're at a guy's house. Basically, we're in the backyard. And this dude I've seen him around. I've been to a few shows in Southern California. I've seen him around. I've seen his truck. Even in Arizona, I've seen him out there driving his truck as well. And that's like a 5-hour drive for us. And so as I'm looking to get a new power plant or maybe, a new option for my truck, I could tell this guy knows what he's doing because I've seen his truck, out, going on cruises, driving it, everything. So he knows what he's doing. He's able to do something like that. I'm not looking for my truck to be, raced or anything like that. I do want some power. I have the need for speed a little bit. I like to burn rubber. But we have Hector here. He's from HM562, and he's been putting LS swaps. He's got one in his truck. But Hector, can you tell me a little bit more maybe about, let's say, small block versus LS? What would be a big pitch towards that? Why would somebody like me want to switch over?
I think the biggest thing why people are choosing right now the 350s into the LS motors and the conversions is because, number one, there's a fuel injection factor. Also, the biggest thing also, there's no carburetors anymore. It's more of a fuel injector. Also, the computer takes over. There's you can cruise, you can idle a lot better. So people like the fact that they can run a lot better and have at the same time a low idle. Just come at a stoplight, be normal, and then when they want to gun it, they get all the power they want, right? So the biggest thing that I noticed from the 350s is also that not everybody knows how to work on the carburetors, and not all the time will your vehicle also stay running at a tip-top shape. And then what happens is, I think you need a good mechanic with your carburetors and your mechanical 350, because if you don't, they constantly need adjustments. Sometimes, I don't know, your car could have been running great this last 6 months, and then 6 months later you parked it and now it's not running right no more. You probably got to get your carburetor rebuilt, your timing set up again, and everything. And I think that's what happens with the 350. So now, because we're now into 2020, there's less of those mechanics that you used to have a lot more 20 years ago. There's more of the guys now. Most of the mechanics nowadays replace parts. So not everybody's getting into how technical, how things work. So people now really want to know, especially like on YouTube. If you go on YouTube, you'll find a lot of things on the hacks, how to fix things that you probably have wrong with your LS or even your 350. But not everybody has the knowledge of the 350. And I think with the LS, because there's so much coverage on the media, the YouTubes, and everywhere, and any backyard person can actually tell you what it is. And people will tell you that, yeah, you just buy this, you get this, and you make a run.
All right, so as Hector said, when we talk about small blocks and some of the older technology, carburetors, stuff like that, a lot more tuning, old school tuning, which can be which changed with the LS engines because it's all computer tuning. So you don't have to manually go in and do anything, any stuff like that. Like your altitude, you have to change it. Your the weather conditions outside, humidity, all that stuff has a factor. Everything in it, how it runs, and it's just, you can't do it on the fly. You can't do it on a computer. You can't do that stuff. You have to actually manually do it and everything, which can be a pain in the ass with those engines and everything. Now, fortunately, my truck does have EFI on it, but a lot of people say, hey, you want to get some mileage out of it, you want to, drive it better, you do EFI, and I did. I have an EFI system on it, and it works, it drives, it starts up every time. I don't have to tune it. If I go to another region or something like that, where the weather is different, it'll self-tune and do all those things. But one thing I will tell you is that I don't get the efficiency that I thought I was going to get out of it. On a good day, maybe going downhill with a breeze behind me, I'll get 12 miles a gallon. So that's on a really, really good day. Most of the times I'm getting like 8 to 10. So, and it's a little rowdy. When it idles, I'm sitting there and it's thumping around, it's doing all these things, and which is different from some of the engines nowadays that run actually a lot smoother, and they'll get rowdy when you get on them, when you need it. What I want to know is from Hector is cost. What is a cost of doing? You're doing these swaps from like Junkyard motors. What was the cost involved with getting the engine and hooking it up and all of that complete?
So let me give you a rough idea of what I've seen out there comparably from backyard guys, even to shop guys. From Junkyard motors to like pick apart motors to YouTube, I'm sorry, not YouTube, but OfferUp and like Craigslist. So I've seen the complete swap engine, 4L60, 5.3. Those engines, I've seen them for anywhere on a range as far as little as $800 for the whole changeover to, let's say currently right now, 2021 at around even 1,800, okay? Now, the 6.0 LQ9 or LQ4 is currently, that pricing has gone up a lot because of the demand, because people still have figured out that it is a great motor. It's still a 6.0. It's bigger than a 5.7. So liters wise, and then remember, you have an LS3, which is a 6.2. So for a 6.0, it's still a bargain what you're getting, and the horsepower, I believe the 6.0 LQ9, it's rated at around 340 horsepower.
Yeah, how much are you getting those for though?
And then those right there, that price range, I've seen them for as little on the changeover, between 18 to 3,500 now.
Oh yeah, see that's pretty reasonable. In thinking of that, my motor was, it's a stroker motor, it's a 383. And it was about, I believe it was around $5,000 just for the motor itself. Now I had a distributor. It didn't have exhaust. It didn't have a front drive system. It didn't have anything. I mean, the fuel system, wiring, anything like that. So it was just a straight motor. So a little bit cheaper. It can be a little bit of a risk in not knowing, how many miles maybe are on it, or, how well it was taken care of. But what is the total package, to get an LS installed, what is a base ballpark range for that?
Well, perfect example. Okay, so the more affordable one would be the 5.3. The 5.3 changeover, you probably, let's say you get it all together, whatever you got, transmission with all accessories bolted to it, let's say you're at $1,500 range. As far as what I've seen guys that do it not at a shop, let's say guys like me that know what they're doing already, and we've done obviously probably more than 10. We're probably at a range, I've seen them anywhere from 25 to 35 as far as that price, right? And then at the shop price, I've seen them charge around, on labor side, they'll want $5,000 in labor. Now, that's not counting all the little other things that you need, like for example, motor mounts, headers, transmission cross member, engine mount plates, obviously your intake air tube, right, with the filter, radiator fan assemblies, Dakota digital gauges, fuel pump, fuel tank relocation, bigger, obviously capacity also, because a lot of these square bodies come with each tank on the sides. I believe it's anywhere from 11 to 12 gallons. Some have duals, but some don't. So either you have some people will switch off to a single little tank, or they just rather get the bigger 20-gallon or 18-gallon tank that goes in the rear and the back of the bed. So we talked about the price of the motor. We talked about a little bit of the price of the labor. We now just cover a little bit of the price of the actual parts, the rest of the hard parts that completes the swap. So let's say you do the swap yourself. You're probably looking to spend a little bit, I would say under even $6,000. And you know what? I've heard even guys do it even cheaper. But you know what? Also, you still got to do a differential, right? So you probably need a posi. You need something to put all this power to the wheels and be able to, you know, have traction. Because what's the point of having all this power and you're peg legging off of one wheel?
But that also goes without saying. I mean, when you have a classic truck like this, you're going to want to do all that stuff anyways. You're not. I mean, there's so many parts out there now that you can have a truck like an older classic truck that could drive brand new if you got all the right parts. You're just going to want to do that. So another issue that I had with my truck is that, you know, I had a brand new motor on the thing. I have leaks all over the place. And there could be some issues with that with the old school small blocks. And like I said, with the older technology, there's stuff that happens. I think, well, actually, I had a leak with my valve covers. I think now I fixed that, and I think now I have a problem with my rear main seal, which is a common issue with small blocks. And I think LS's, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. They have a better track history with leaks. I mean, or not leaking, basically, right?
Well, yeah. One of the biggest things in the redesign from the 350s onto the LS, which the LS's came out, I believe. The first LS came out in '98 on the Camaro and the Firebirds, and also obviously the C5 Corvette. The old materials that they used to use on a lot of these 350s were paper materials, like even cork gasket materials, valve covers, oil pan gaskets, rear covers, front timing covers were made out of this material. They still are, believe it or not, Felpro, right? But with the new LS stuff, they switched over to more of like sealed systems. So through this little gap, you just put a little rubber gasket. You put your little bolts here. Those also have little seals, and this thing is sealed, man. More than likely, you will never leak out of this again. The rear main seal on a LS motor, it's also a single piece big rubber seal. So that right there, more than likely, you'll never leak again also. This right here is an example of the standard LS oil pan gasket that fits LS1s, LS2s, Gen 3s, I think even all the way up to Gen 4, Gen 5 motors. This is like a $50 gasket, right? But look how it's made. It's made out of aluminum material, some very good gasket rubber material here. This right here, actually through here goes the oil pressure of the where your oil filter goes. So everything, and this just gets torqued down to a certain torque. And this right here, you do it once, whenever you have to do it, this will probably never leak out again for another 10 years, who knows? But the superior sealing of the LS motor has increased, and that is why I think that created a better workhorse, a more reliable engine for the everyday working person, and that you don't have to have those leak issues that you have in your 350s.
So Hector has his 73 C10. He's done a swap on it. I think it was a little bit more budget minded, right, when you did it?
Definitely, man. Believe it or not, this is one of my first American motor LS swaps. I had done 350s. I actually worked on 350s. That's how I know about 350s. This is an LS1. I scored this. I was just telling you, I scored this off when I was visiting Mexico, my brother's house. I saw this vehicle, Trans Am, a 98 that was crashed. And I saw that it had an LS1, so I said, hey, I would like to buy it, and I offered a good amount of money, and he sold it to me very reasonable. I obviously saved money on my install, got the engine for cheap, reasonable, and I was able to have the truck that I have now. And because I have the same mindset that a lot of you guys have, as far as what is it that you can do yourself to save for other things, other goodies that we want to get, like wheels, paint, and these are the things that are very important. I still keep these things in mind, but I'm able to have now a better truck because of that, because I did it myself.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, so, you know, if we look at it here, I mean, you know, geez, it looks pretty good. It's a simple swap that he's done. It's a little bit more budget minded, but you could do something a little bit better too. I mean, if you have a little bit more budget,
I have one for you right here.
Sweet. Oh, look at that, smooth smart. I mean, everything under here is like nice and clean and everything. You can just tell everything has been touched a little bit more. Now, how much is a swap like this?
This right here, I believe after everything we were done as far as the expenses, this jumped to about $13,000.
Oh, gotcha. But you know, talking about prices, I mean, that's not that expensive, you know, in comparison with some of the stuff, and you know, buying a brand new motor and everything. it's not out there. Some of these guys are spending a lot more money than that. So it's pretty cool to see this and to see something that built in a garage. I mean, look at it. And this truck is like you could take it to a show. I mean, and think it was built by a shop or something, but just with a little know-how and you know, knowing the right things and everything, you know, you can have some success. So I have to say, I'm liking everything. All you have to say, everything about your swaps. You've been very budget-minded, all that stuff, but I want to see this thing run. I want to see how it does, what it sounds like, how it performs. You know, hey, let's, you know, small block versus LS. Let's check it out. Let's see the difference. Let's see how it goes.
All right, let's check it out.
All right, so now we're cruising inside the truck now, and I can tell you right away, it's not rowdy. It's, you know, nice and smooth. Hector gets on it, we can hear the exhaust, but I mean, this is more on the basic side, right?
Yes.
We showed the red truck that he had. That's I think he said it had a cam in it. Now, if you want to go racing, or you know, or if you want a vehicle that's going to show a little bit better and have some sound, you can go that way. But I don't recommend it. I'm not into cammed engines. I don't necessarily like thumping around as much. So I think something like this suits me a little bit better. But yeah, like I said, this is more budget, right?
Yes, like for perfect example, I'm not cammed up either. I have just the normal bolt-ons, like obviously intake, headers, exhaust-wise. I have the look at those cars over there louder than us. I have MagnaFlows, so they're more of the quieter, more mellow tones. But then again, that is my personality. I'm not into big Super 40s, Flowmasters, you know, open exhaust. I'm not into stage 3 or 4 cams, which a lot of people are, but to everybody their own custom build, right? And I feel like this is what suits me best. And then because also I drive this truck a lot. This is almost a daily driver for me, and I've driven it to Arizona. Within the same month, I also went to Vegas and drove it as my only vehicle out there.
So it's pretty cool. We were able to go for a ride in this truck and really get a feel for what one of these swaps is like in a truck like this. And as you can tell, I mean, it was really smooth, reliable. Hector says he drives it, you know, pretty often, so it's not too rowdy for him to get in and cruise and be comfortable in it. And yeah, and we were able to capitalize on that power. We were able to get on it, even though it idled pretty low. We got on it. It had the power. Yeah, going down the street and everything, we were able to get up there. So I really did like that, and I think it's really selling me on doing a swap like this. But I don't know exactly which direction I'm going to go, because I mean, there's all sorts of options, starting from like LS1 to, you know, LQ9, 454, you know, all these options on LSs that have different, you know, respond differently, different displacements. But I don't think I'm going to go too high with that. Like I said, I want something reliable that I can drive every day. It's not going to be too rowdy, too crazy or anything like that. But that's going to be something I could think about, and something for you guys to think about as well, you know, if you're doing a swap. But I have to thank Hector over here for giving us a ride and showing us around, talking, you know, LSs with us and everything, and getting a feel for what he does and how simple it could be done and how you could do it in your backyard, basically. So super cool. I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Nitto Tires. They've been able to make all of this possible, all these videos, a lot of content. So, you know, it's greatly appreciated if you can support them. If you got a build or anything like that, check out their tires to see if they got something that works for you. But yeah, hope you guys like this video, and hit that like button if you did. That helps us out a bunch. And if you had any other questions, drop those in the comment section below. If you need any questions answered about LS engines or swaps or anything like that, either I or Hector will probably, you know, answer them better than I will. But yeah, also hit that subscribe button as well, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss another video in this series. And we will catch you next time.